One, Mother Judith Levitain, whose son Daniel was turned away from an international flight after she asked airline staff to ban nuts on the plane. On August the 29th, we spoke to viewer Helen Cottonius, who was stranded in Cyprus because of her nut allergy. She explained on the show when she came on here that she came to be removed from the flight home after discovering that nuts would be served on board, having warned airline staff of her allergy. Now, with Amy's story there, we're fully aware that happened on holiday.
Yep.
And that's how severe it can be when you get treatment.
Yep.
When you're at 35,000 feet and you have a reaction like that, then obviously the chances are that the outcome will be even more severe. So what are we calling for?
Well, obviously you're very vulnerable, and as you said, we heard from many viewers who had suffered from inconsistent and often uncaring treatment at the hands of airlines when they expressed concern that they did have a nut allergy. And more importantly, we also heard from lots of viewers who don't suffer from nut allergies but had huge empathy, sympathy and offering support and saying, we're on board. If you have a severe allergy that could threaten your life, we will change our habits and our mindset. And that's a really important thing, because it's now quite common. 1 in 70 children will have a nut allergy, and 10 years ago it was 1 in 200 children.
Yeah.
So, you know, it was very rare. When my children were at little school, it was sort of, oh, there's a child with a nut allergy. Now there's one kind of in every
So what are we
year.
hoping to do? What are we hoping to achieve?
This is our call for arms. There's no legislation saying that airlines have to do anything regarding nuts. There's no policy. We are saying, 1, stop serving nuts on all flights. And 2, make an announcement as part of that safety announcement we've all know and listen to every time, saying there may be people with nut allergies on board. Please do not eat any nut products. And I think with a change of mindset, we will come around to, when we check our handbags for liquids before we get on a flight, we will not only say, OK, that's more than 100 ml, we will say, oh, nuts, take them out.
Yeah.
I don't need nuts on a flight.
No, you don't.
Why are you behind this?
Well, personally, I have a nut allergy, which I've had since the age of 4, and since when I was a teenager, that has resulted in anaphylaxis, which I've experienced on several occasions. Thankfully, always been able to get treatment to administer my EpiPen and make a full recovery, but it's a terrifying experience to go through. And as Alice says, on a flight, you do feel particularly vulnerable, because it's not like when you're here and, you know, you're across the river from, you know, a fantastic hospital. You're also in an environment where the air is all just recirculated. And so the experience of people who have nut allergies, particularly if it is so severe, we had the case this summer of the toddler who had a very severe reaction on an aeroplane. I think it is time to ask the question, actually, you know, is it so important that nuts are served, or could another snack do just as well instead?
It seems that we're sort of sitting here discussing it, going, do you need nuts? No, of course you don't. So lots of our viewers are behind it. It seems very obvious and very simple and very easy, but we don't seem to be getting to that next stage with this. So why is that? Are you surprised that the aviation side?
Well, I think it's interesting. So some airlines, you know, my experience of flying is very good, and they will, you know, they'll put out announcements, and you know, some people will have heard them.
Coming back from Portugal this summer, British Airways said, please don't eat any nuts on the plane. We have someone with a severe nut allergy, and we won't be serving nuts.
On my British Airways flight, I got given a packet of nuts and I didn't ask for them. So you know, it's maybe if somebody hadn't flagged up that they had an allergy, then they would have had a problem. It is inconsistent, and we asked, as a programme, 13 airlines to put forward a spokesperson to come and discuss this. You know, let's talk about it. Not one of them would put a spokesperson forward.
Speaking on their behalf, which somebody's got to for the moment, and if there was someone here, if they bothered to come in, then we might have been able to talk about it. But they will say it is not possible, I'm sure, to be nut-free on a plane.
Yep.
The meals, they're prepared in bulk,
Yep.
and the chances of being able to get those to be completely nut-free, virtually impossible. Major chefs have said that, and so that would be their issue.
Yep.
It's a packet of nuts, but someone could bring on a Snickers bar.
Of course they could, and it is impossible to police. And there's, you know, we support airlines that it is impossible for them to police this, and we have major security concerns that we want them to be looking into as well, which which is why we're saying stop serving the nuts. You know, let's do the obvious things first. Stop serving the nuts and make an announcement. You know, only recently there was a man who was 4 rows in front of a child who had a severe nut allergy, and he still opened a packet of peanuts despite an announcement. You know, we absolutely need to make baby steps first, and for all the public to have a mindset change.
So, Jo, you're hoping to debate this issue in Parliament. That's what you'd like to see, and you're urging everybody really not only to sign this petition but also to write to their local MP.
Absolutely. You know, MPs enjoy hearing from their constituents. Everybody's got a member of parliament. It's easy to email them and to let them know that you're concerned about this issue, because when that pressure comes from the public, then that encourages politicians to act. And I think when you've got the airlines really dragging their feet on trying to get a solution to this, then there is a potential role for government to actually bring the airlines together and get some collective action on this that could maybe not eliminate the risk, but certainly reduce the risks of these kind of tragedies happening again.